talking again about anxiety and depression and some of the power that it holds over us that really I think we haven't realised we can take back some of that power and re-establish freedom in our lives. I've known a lot of people, and particularly seen a lot of people in recent years with a sort of a PTSD type anxiety. I think many of us have struggled with that in smaller ways, perhaps from our childhood wounds or our traumas. And some, of course, have had horrific things happen in their childhood that's bound them up to, constant, be in a constant state of alert, as it were, on the inside. So there's this anxious buzzing going on constantly inside the person, and it's very hard to function like that. Basically, it can easily explode into an instant panic attack. You perhaps walk into a shopping centre or somewhere that's got kind of a vibe about it, or a bit of a feeling, or there's too many people, or you're in a constricted space. Perhaps there's something asked of you on that day that is maybe beyond your capacity at the moment because of the anxiety being like right up here, and it just kind of explodes out into this full-blown panic attack that just sort of almost drops you to the ground. You feel like you're having a heart attack. You're really held down, basically. These are things that sort of, I guess, many of us suffer with and struggle with, and we find it really difficult to overcome. And I guess I was talking earlier in another video about the power that we actually have to take back our thoughts, and I think this is the significant part, is trying to master our thinking and to live in the present moment. It's the projecting forward or backward that leads us into so much difficulty and takes us from a space of peace into a sort of an anxious edginess, basically. So we know that if we're headed out and we're heading off into a day where there's some problems or some issues that we have to face, maybe got to go into a government office, or we've got to go and get the shopping in or something along those lines, and it's like, it's really challenging to face some of those things because inside us we feel ill-equipped. So where do we need to master this stuff? We need to master this stuff inside. We need to get back to our true identity. The biggest thing that I've found in overcoming anxiety is knowing who you really are. Told this story a few times, but I often roll up at certain events or different things that I've had to go to, and I've been like, just felt like I had nothing to offer, absolutely zero. And in this one case, it was particularly me that was asked to be, the speaker, the one who was going to be the centre of attention, and that's pretty anxiety building. I believe that's one of the highest one, public speaking, as it were. And everything in me wanted to run this day, but I had to tell myself, I had to stop, pull myself up and just go, Tony, you've got this, mate. You've got more than enough. The reason they've invited you to share more or less on this topic is because it's something that you experience in your everyday life. And yes, you have to overcome it. And yes, it can be hard, but you can do it. And so in I went into this meeting. First person I met, shook hands with them, like, how you going? I'm Tony, I'm here to speak. What's your name? We got chatting. They introduced me to a few other guys. It was a men's particular night, and on we went and had a really powerful night where we challenged some of these limiting beliefs that we have, some of these agreements that we've made, these spiritual agreements that we've made in deep places of ourselves, that have said, like negative ones I'm talking about now, that have told us that we don't have anything. I can't do this. I can't go out of the house. I can't face the workplace. I can't go back there, wherever there is, and face whatever it is that got me down in the first place, right? So workplace is a classic one. So there's been a workplace accident, workplace injury, workplace bullying, and it's just got us, and we're just tripped up by that thing now. And all we can see around workplace now, not only our own workplace, but any workplace, is stress, anxiety and fear. And the thought of going back into work is just too overwhelming. And so we get stuck outside, and now we have no work, we have nothing to do with our lives, and we get depressed and disheartened because we feel like we have nothing to offer. And we lose our identity very easily in that. I understand what that's like. I was sharing in another video how much I've struggled with depression during 35 years of chronic fatigue illness. And the amount of time that I've had to spend off work, not doing anything, and just laying around oftentimes, 24 hours a day, it's very demoralising. You really think you got nothing, and you, in actual fact at the time, that is true. You've got nothing to offer, you're not doing anything, you're not putting in, you're not helping, you're not, you know what I mean? You're not a productive member of society in a sense. But that's not who we really are. That's just the external identity that we take on, and we can easily make agreements at that time. And when I talk about agreements, I mean in our minds, we can almost make a contract with the fact that I've got nothing to offer. That's a classic one. I'm worthless, I'm useless, I'm ugly, I'm fat, I'm alone, no one's going to love me. And these agreements are almost like signed, sealed and delivered contracts that sit down somewhere, and they become, as I was saying in this other video about mindsets, they become a mindset. And a mindset, as I'm coming to see, is very much about setting something like concrete in your mind. And so a good mindset is a mindset that says, I can do this, I can get up, I can face this challenge, I can overcome. A negative mindset would be, I've got nothing. There's nothing for me to offer. There's no worth in me. There's nothing I have to offer this world that is valuable. There's nothing that I can do. I'm not loved. I'm unworthy, etc. They stick down really deep, and we need to go ahead and break those. To actually, almost like literally, which I've done with people, is write it down on a piece of paper. I am worthless. Read it out. Take ownership of the fact that you've taken that as a contract. Break that contract in your mind, saying to yourself, that's not who I am. That is not my true identity. That's a false identity, a false self that I've picked up or taken up over my life through the circumstances. I've become a victim of my circumstances, and I'm not going to believe that anymore. I'm going to tear that up, literally tear that piece of paper up, burn it, and take ownership of a new mindset that says, I can do this thing. I can do it. I've got within me the power to do whatever it is that I need to do. Where'd those butterflies go? There they are, look at that. Some cool butterflies flicking around here. Awesome little spot once again. Take control of that mindset. Unset it, break it open, smash open that concrete. Take the tools. I was talking in this other video too about tools, and we've been given these particular tools that we can use to cut off our thoughts, to cut off the things that are negative, to break open the mindset, maybe even a jackhammer, like a spiritual jackhammer that needs to be taken to this mindset that's solidified and is now becoming our identity, which is not our true self. We can take that back. We can take our true identity, who we really are. We've got to come to know that. We've got to come to understand and look at our lives from a bigger perspective, sort of pan right back out again, as I often do say, to pan right out, to look around and to see the larger story. Who am I in the context of the big picture? Who am I in the context of my whole life? Not in the last year or 2 years since the accident, since the incident at work, since the car accident, since, this abuse situation came to light, or, the court case or the divorce. Who am I underneath all of that? What is my true gift? Am I a mother? Am I a father? Am I a helper? Am I an encourager? Am I an artist? Am I a creative? Do I have something that I can offer the world from where I stand right now, that I can begin to build hope again in that creation that I am, and who I am, my deepest self? So important that we take back. We cannot allow ourselves to stay under for too long, or those mindsets become so concreted. I'll go into that in another video if that's the case. But if you're on the verge or have been held down for some time and it's not fully set, and there's a little tiny glimmer of hope that you can break out of there, I'd encourage you to take that step today in any way, shape or form that you can. Make a step towards someone else. Reach out from yourself. Don't get focused on just yourself, because you are part of the whole, and your purpose, your mission, your gift is part of the whole, not part of just you. If you're just looking at yourself, you're going to get in trouble. You got to look at part of the whole, and look out here and see what's going on out here. Look at this, massive, absolutely huge, part of the whole, part of the river system here that feeds in and out with the tides, that brings the small fish out, that brings the big ones in, that brings the plankton in. It changes everything. So much that you have to offer as part of the whole. Worth thinking about, food for thought. Thanks for listening.